We're back. We're ready. It's part 16 of Turnabout in the Lighthouse of Lunacy. We are on Act 3. And in the last video, we started cross-examining a new witness, Mariko Polo. And she's been messing around in the van since she saw the whole thing. Allegedly, at least. But it seems like she's telling the truth about seeing it for now. Because she saw Aurelia supposedly shoot Melanie, and she's been keeping stum about it for, you know, all of this time, because I don't know, she was why'd she do that again? I think she was like just not want to get into trouble, but maybe there's some other reason for it. But anyway, in the last video we were gonna ask the victim. I believe the victim brought the spray to the competition for a very good reason: to clean up the blood. Dr. Hellinger had some interesting things to say about this kind of spray. Apparently it's capable of messing with luminol results if blood is erased with it. So it'd be perfect if you want to throw off forensics. Oh yeah, and this is Tender Mender. I submit that the victim intended to clean up some blood with this.
Clean up? Blood? But the victim is the one who died.
Obviously she wasn't planning on dying, Your Honor. What she planned to clean up with this was my blood. Hey, we found our self-defense angle.
You make it sound like the victim was trying to get away with murder.
You heard me. The victim in this case was far from innocent. From the start, she meant to attack and murder me. I expected something like this. I expected something like this from you, but it does not change how asinine the argument is. The victim was simply defending the property against a trespasser. It's futile to try and turn this into anything more. There's no conceivable motive for her to murder you.
Miss Chase, did you and the victim know each other before today? I haven't heard anything about it.
No, I don't think we've personally met before. The victim simply possessed a strong urge to murder a stranger. I hope that's not what you're trying to propose. I mean, it's not an unprecedented thing.
I'm inclined to agree with Miss Preston. If the victim didn't even know you, what motive could exist for her to kill you?
Fine now. It's time to go on the offensive. The victim must have had some reason to attack me. There must be something connecting me and her. I think I know what it is. It's the damn thing this whole case revolves around. Saying that I was a stranger to Mrs. Holden would likely be incorrect. This piece of evidence proves Mrs. Holden knew who I was. Something about the non-business practices. I think it might be the newspaper. And she would have... I'm just going to check everything else just in case, but she would have to have known about that case. I still think anything else here is... It could be the press pass, I guess, because that proves that she's legit, but I don't know. She might have told her about it, might not have. It's not conclusive, I don't think. That'll be my second option if the newspaper fails. No, I'm going to try the newspaper. 4 years ago, this newspaper was published. Yes, this is unfortunately not the first time you've shown this to us. Are you going to baselessly suggest the victim may have seen you on TV? Nope. This one's much more straightforward. Look at the main article.
Ah yes, this one exposed of the lead's evil deeds. I do not see how that is relevant to what we're talking about.
Take a look at who wrote the article, Your Honor.
Aurelia Chase, it was you!
Trying to flex.
Why are you trying to flex in my courtroom?
Bingo. Well, I guess it's technically true. Technically true? This article may impress the average observer, not that I would consider it notable achievement. Its inconsequential to your argument, regardless. This newspaper was found in the victim's office on her desk. Oh! I'd forgotten about that, it wasn't written here. Normally these are quite detailed, but... Oh, no, it's written here. I wasn't paying attention to that, but, you know. I figured it's her, like, she owns the tower. She'd have to have known about it. It must have left quite an impression if she kept it around for that long. She would obviously know who wrote that article. Yeah, 4-year-old newspaper.
Order! Certainly she could have known about you from that. I do still not see how this would give a motive. Oh, sorry, I've got dementia today. But I do still not see how this would give her a motive to murder you.
Well, you got there in the end, Your Honor. I'm pleased you're not allowing yourself to be impressed by Aurelia's antics. How would knowing your name to a newspaper give her any more reason to end your life? It would not. They never write anything worthwhile, but nobody hates the press to that degree. Fair point. I'm getting to that. Well, I got no proof about her being a member of the JP Corporation or anything. So, the revenge angle is out. Odd, but I think there's something else I can use. And it's just the thing to continue this direct character assassination. I'll give you that on its own, there's no motive here. But if we consider this, the fact that I'm an investigative journalist might have been troubling the victim. Corrupt business practices. See, I mean, I don't. Do we know why Aurelia was? I assume Aurelia was chasing investigating the tower. But whether or not she was here for Melanie Holden, Melanie Holden could have been like, yeah, she's here for me. Nobody would murder a random journalist they'd never heard of. Still, it's a little different if we keep in mind what happened today. The fact that I came here and was looking around her place for some reason.
Well, anyone would be a little bit troubled by that.
It went beyond simple concern in this case, but to explain we have to look at Miss Holden's history. Oh, wonderful. Are we honestly willing to enjoy the story?
I will allow you to explain, Miss Chase. But stick with what is relevant. No pointless elaborations.
No worries. I'm going according to the chase. It's my name after all. Oh, why did I say that? I hate myself for saying that. Right, so there was something pretty unusual about Mrs. Holden's business. She seems to be remarkably unlucky with her tenants. You know the worst example, but this apparently wasn't the only time. Word has it Mrs. Holden was on her quite the streak for house criminals.
Unbelievable! What are the chances of this?
I'll tell you what the odds are, Your Honor. Odds are these were no accident. It was her whole deliberate business model.
What in the world?
Wait, so who's the bad guy now?
She did seem kind of shady to me.
Yeah, I mean, the way she sold that murderer's possessions, pretty morbid. What does that make you, the people who came to buy said possessions? I hope my point is clear now. Miss Holden knowingly profited from renting properties to criminals. Her career would have been the least of her worries if this was proven. She would have been criminally charged herself. And then who does she see among the guests? A journalist who clearly wasn't here just for the auction. But not just any journalist. One who had managed to thoroughly expose every last crime of one of her tenants. Mrs. Holden must have concluded she was next on my list. And given my track record, there would be nothing she could do to conceal all evidence from me. She only saw one way out of her crimes, getting exposed. To get rid of me before I was able to do so.
So to make sure her crimes aren't exposed, she intended to kill you first. I must ask, was this the reason you wanted to study then? To find evidence against her?
I still choose not to testify. The point isn't whether I was actually looking into her though. As long as she assumed that's what I was doing, claims would have had a motive regardless. How do I put this best? Let's see. Pure slander.
Would you like to respond to these allegations, plaintiff?
Yes, Your Honor. Mother's name, I would stand for being dragged through the mud. Well, look who's finally decided to show up. Don't think that sweet act will help you now.
Very well, you will have to testify if you wish.
Plaintiff will do nothing of the sort. There's no need to honor any of these claims with a response. You serious? You're not even gonna challenge them again? Seems I've been on the wrong course. What did I hire you for? All of her claims were predictable. The trial is still absolutely within my control. That's why I forbid you from saying anything now. It's unnecessary. You keep saying that, but you only keep losing ground and let the defendant create a mess. Losing streaks, I hate them and I hate messes. It's time to clean this up. You know what would be the ultimate, plot twist if Victoria was actually trying to help us the whole time, but she's just, putting on this act of, I'm going to do anything I can to get you. When in reality, she's left us lots of opportunities to poke at holes. Not these holes, yeah. And then at the end, she's like, oh, yay, we're friends again. But, she could just be that stupid to not let her take over when clearly she knows what she's doing. To testify now would be to concede there is something that merits a response. I won't permit it. How do I put this? Too bad. I'm your client. I get to do what I want. You only get to do what I allow. The unfathomable ignorance. Let the record state that I advise my client against this course of action. Not the kind of power dynamic you're used to, huh?
Very good. Let's hear your testimony, plaintiff.
Victoria was, uncharacteristically, wise to advise you against this misholding. By entering the stand, you're opening yourself up for attack. You're missing a closed bracket there. Disgraceful. But you're a fan of risky moves, aren't you? Well, you better be ready. Susan Holden, but I will state my name for the court. You can thank me for everything in this auction being impeccably clean. Mother entrusted me with getting rid of any dirt in this building. Don't think you'll last longer than the rest. So, we got through Mariko pretty quickly, actually, because last episode we were dealing with her, and we just pretty much finished her. Or she might come back, I don't know. I don't think she has anything more to say. But interested to see what, because she was still the first one, to examine the body. And we're accusing her of taking this. You have no proof for any of your speculation. Well, they're simply defending herself. The end. Okay. Wait, how is that even a testimony? All you did was deny everything.
That was certainly very concise.
To the first rule of poker, Miss Chase. All players draw 2 cards. Poker face is to never give the other players more information than necessary. My point, there is no need to let any details pollute it. A clean, straightforward rebuttal for a clean, straightforward trial. Nothing more. If you can't tell, I'm kind of going a bit all over, because I can't really decide what voice to give her. Because the last time we saw the sprite used, if you've seen my previous Let's Plays in Melia Maleficarum. She's a key figure in that. We give her a kind of quiet, timid voice, but no, Susan Holden doesn't seem like a quiet, timid type. She's taking control of things. I'm not sure whether to lean into poshness because she's like child of a rich person. So go for something a bit more devious, but I'll see if I can solidify a voice for her. It's been 16 episodes and I still haven't really.
Well, you are not wrong that Miss Chase's accusations have been mostly speculative. There may have been plausible points, but it still presupposed things with no evidence. With no real evidence.
Exactly that. Bluff called, that's all I need to do. With that sorted out, can we focus back on things we actually proved? Like, who shot my mother? Not so fast, Miss Holden. I still got to cross-examine your point. Of course, you would insist. That's always a sure bet going by this trial so far. I know you're betting that I'll give you something to derail things with again. Give up. You're in my house, and the house always wins. I know how to keep my testimony clean. Thanks, but I'll take my chances. I mean, was it really going to be? Oh, you can be found guilty soon if you don't. Yeah, I have to work with anything I get anyway, so. Stain cleaning. You can't just call all of it baseless and be done with it. You bet, nothing you said has had any factual basis behind it. Actual proof? I saw none that shows my mother was found to murder you. Made up. Painted a narrative to suit your needs. Okay, I might not easily be able to prove that much. But you're selling my argument a bit short. At least some of it had a factual basis. Bluff called. Can you even name one thing that wasn't mere conjecture? Which part was backed up by hard fact? The victim bought the spray, the victim knew us as journalists, the victim conspired with criminals. Well, it would have to be the victim brought the spray because we had a witness saw it and fingerprints. Not so fast. The victim did take the cleaning spray to the scene. A witness confirmed as much. The fingerprints also confirm that you took it away. Something you have yet to comment on at all. My theory was entirely founded on that fact. If you want to dismiss it, you have to provide an explanation for that part. I think this counts as proof of anything. It's just some cleaning agent. That doesn't prove any intentions on its own.
Well, it's true. The defendant does have a point. It would help your case to explain what the spray was doing there and why you took it.
Fine, how do I put this? Hello? I saw it protrude from her pocket and took hold of it without thinking. My mother. I just lost her, in case you forgot. I thought I needed something to hold on to. So, you know, instead of like a teddy bear or a stress ball, you just grabbed your cleaning sponge. Like, oh no. Just going with Victoria's excuse. Figures. And do you have any idea why she brought it with her in the first place? Who knows? She probably thought it could help her defend herself. It might not be specifically made for it, but spraying someone's face would still startle them. Isn't that quite the stretch? She didn't even end up using it. How about any more of a stretch than your idea? Is anybody who's carrying some cleaning agent a criminal now? Well, when they're carrying a knife and a cleaning agent, and a large combat knife, which some look like a small pocket knife that was found in Edgeworth's toolbox, but, you know, there's only a certain number of sprites we can have. Context does matter.
Please settle down, you two. For now, both of these appear to be equally plausible explanations.
Well, I'll let the plaintiff add her version to the testimony.
That is reasonable enough.
Fine then. Same odds, this won't improve yours at all. Yeah, someone took the cleaning spray, but only to have an additional self-defense tool. Questioning the fact that she never even used it apparently won't get me far, so Wasn't it a bit excessive? She already had a knife on hand after all. Better be too cautious than that, that's what you used to say. I suppose Mr. Guard told me about how she was practically holed up in here all the time. Concession, how unexpected. Or you just tried to appear unbiased. No, I want to see if you confirm what he said. It's good to have a solid foundation before you start picking it apart. So, your mother has supposedly been cautious for a while, but I clearly couldn't have been the reason for that caution. You're not even arguing that this was premeditated. Yeah, she's generally been cautious, and it didn't directly relate to you. You happy? The important part is that this meant that she liked to be over-prepared, hence the spread. You could have just been a burglar, but it could also have been bait to lure into a trap. I would likely considered her decisions from that angle, maximizing odds. Then how come she didn't bring anyone else along when confronting me? That would have, by far, been the safest course of action. Implication being, maybe she didn't want to endanger anyone else. It's a weird point in her behaviour. Okay then, is that all you wanted to say? I guess it'll be enough to put a dent in her version of events. Still, we established the victim had supposedly been generally cautious, which leaves me with a couple more things to ask about, like... So then, what was the actual reason for her caution? Obvious answer. The curse of this building. Hold up, she believed in that? Reapers? No chance. Still, there had to be some explanation for those murders that happened several years ago. For example, a lunatic who, for some reason, went after people that visited this building. Easy bet. That Dr. Lead associated with some crazy killers. Natural theory. That's why Mother decided to no longer allow visits to the visits to the tower. Methinks this D is not supposed to be there. Except for maintenance workers. And why she rarely left the tower, only going out when necessary. Checks out on the surface at least.
Was any of this really that important, Miss Chase?
The victim had generally been concerned about her safety. This is of unfathomable importance. Is your brain even doing anything, or are you just mindlessly adding everything? Why are you complaining? This is vital supporting information for the plaintiff's argument.
Well, I suppose it does put the victim's actions into perspective, somewhat. Please enter testimony.
I knew you were going to try and create a mess again. It won't work though. Your speculation will hit its natural dead end sooner or later. I did remove it from my pocket by accident. I took nothing else though. I wouldn't press this one if we pressed this one. It took hard proof to make you admit this much. How can we trust you didn't take anything else? One thing, that's a mistake, not yet a pattern. If you think I took anything else, you're free to place your bets. That's a bit unreasonable. If you took anything incriminating, you'd probably have hidden it. And with you mostly in control of the investigation, how are we supposed to find it? Good luck. Figures. If I know of anything else you could have taken, I should probably just present it here. It probably won't work unless there's hard proof for it though. With the spray, I'd have witnessed some fingerprints backing me up. I'd need something on the same level again. Well, she's the only one who could have taken it. Probably wouldn't quite cut it. I'm thinking the key to the door. So this is the key to somewhere else. Actually, are there any doors on the lower floor? I think that's in the tower diagram now. It doesn't say that those doors have locks, they might do. And this metal shelf, it doesn't have a locked drawer or anything, does it now? Can you give us some examples of precautions the victim took? No thanks. I think I've stated enough. If I so much as mention anything, you will drag things out by adding another irrelevant point. Enough with the endless racing. It's time to call it. Figured her cooperation would be limited. If I wanted to say more, I might need to bring up a specific precaution the victim took. There's two approaches here. Maybe I already know some of these other precautions. But I could also put myself into her shoes and take an educated guess. There should be some obvious steps to take if you suspect a killer might be coming for you. I'm not going to entertain any guesses. We've heard quite enough speculation that wasn't backed up by any evidence. Being extra difficult, huh? Well, but conversely, if my guess had some supporting evidence, you'll answer. If indeed, there's my shot then. Do we have any evidence that could reasonably have been one of those precautions? I'm thinking this gun, because it's got Melanie Holden's fingerprints on it, and we haven't brought that up yet. I don't think anything else really fits. We got metal shelf or... Nope, nope. Nope, nope. 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 The TV to distract the kill? No. Nope, nope. The knife is the precaution we already know, because she's carrying it. The cake, obviously. And the rest is just profiles, so I just gonna... I think it's the gun. Was this one of the victims of the precautions? This gun that the other crime was committed with, could it have belonged to the victim?
Is there any reason to assume that?
Well, Victoria predictably skimmed over this part completely, but Mrs. Holden's fingerprints were found in this gun, suggesting that she handled it at some point. She couldn't have been Mr. Guard's killer, for obvious reasons. Unless her death was faked, which begs the question when she touched it. Let's take a look at that picture again. We don't actually see the wound. And Hellinger would have to be in on it if she did a analysis. Do I believe Hellinger's in on it? I mean, there's no reason to believe either way for her because we just don't have any evidence related to it whatsoever. It's just one possibility. But my earlier theory could also be true. She smashed the glass case, cut her finger on the glass, took the knife from the drawer this if you need to kill, if you're prepared to kill, and then just left her gun back in that room because she's like, I want to stab a bitch, not shoot a bitch. Don't want to. Maybe just not to make much noise because you want to kill silently. The auction guests were around, so she'd need to do that. She wanted to hide the body, and she'd probably try and throw the body off the tower, I'd assume, into the sea. And there's another problem with this gun, of course. How did it get into the building in the first place? The guard wasn't aware of any other weapon ever finding its way into the building, but he also mentioned that Mrs. Holden was exempt from any checks, being his boss and all. So the simplest way to explain the presence of this gun is if she's the one that brought it into the building.
Certainly, but why would you do such a thing?
That's literally the point. Remember we were talking about safety precautions? If I was concerned someone was after me, I'd definitely consider buying a gun. Well, it's actually exactly why I brought mine, in fact. It was her gun. Happy? That was easy. Just proves how relevant it is, really. Well, I didn't mention this to trick. My lord had mentioned this to trick you into making a bad argument with it. She'd bet you'd try any variety of wild claims connected to your case. Just because my mother's fingerprints were there. You were not permitted to share that. Cute. Well, sit down that fact first. The gun used to shoot Mr. Carr belonged to Miss Holden. Found on the floor in the justice room, halted to 6 bullets, magazine is empty, tiny glass fragments found in the gun. And secondly, please add this to your testimony. Oh, you've got to be messing with me. You might call it irrelevant, but this gun ultimately ends up being involved in a crime. It's not the crime we're talking about, though. When two murders happen in a tower, separated by not much time, especially when the second murder is during an investigation of the first murder, they are connected. This isn't even mystery game logic. This is real life logic as well. Fair. Still, this is another important point to understand the victim's true intentions.
Unfortunately, the defendant's argument has some merit. You will have to add it.
You know what a gambler's fallacy is? It's thinking each irrelevant statement you add somehow improves your odds. This is definitely the last one. Got it? We'll see about that. This new fact, I feel like it's pretty telling. See what I can do with it. I think we're probably going to bring up the blood at some point. Can you explain to me what? No chance. The statement doesn't get any clearer than this. If I dealt you a card, you try to grab them all. Empty stack. I'm allowed to ask you questions. The statement already was the result of a question. You think you can keep this loop going forever? Shameless exploitation. That's what you've made this cross-examination at this point. Then what am I supposed to do if there is something genuinely off about this?
Miss Chase, if so, you are allowed to present evidence that highlights this problem.
Oh, right. That might be no direct contradiction, but maybe there's something pretty weird about the victim's actions here. In that case, I do have an issue to point out. The victim bought a gun for self-defense? That makes her actions illogical considering this. The knife. The statement actually makes no sense whatsoever. And this is why my theory that she swapped the gun for the knife, because she's not looking to act in self-defense. She's looking to kill quietly, dispose of the body, get away with it. Recall the facts of the case. I showed up the tower and roamed about. I could just have been nosy. I could also have been that serial killer she was supposedly worried about. The victim wouldn't have known for sure. And you said she preferred to play it safe. So, put yourself in the victim's shoes before the confrontation. What do? Wouldn't this be the time to bring out, I don't know, the gun you specifically bought for this kind of situation?
Wait, but the victim
decided to rush into things with nothing but this knife and some spray. She didn't stop to fetch the most effective, logical thing to bring. What, did she buy the gun just to let it catch dust? This whole story doesn't track at all. It's once again based on nothing but bluffs and speculation. Maybe the gun just wasn't in a convenient location. We know it was in the tower. And you know, it only makes sense to keep it somewhere actually accessible. I wasn't going anywhere. She could have easily taken her time to go and fetch it from wherever. It certainly would be more reasonable than confronting a potential serial killer with subpar weapons. Stop tainting my case. I will allow myself to point out how meaningless this all is. There's no way for us to determine whatever reasoning the victim employed at that moment. That's dodging the issue and you know it. Then I will query you. Does this make any more sense in your Mastermind scenario? Supposing the victim intended to murder you, the gun would have been a more effective means to accomplish that. Incorrect. The spray really was meant to clean up blood. She was clearly aiming for discretion. The gun would have been too loud for that. Yep. I didn't even need to present anything or say anything, so... But... I mean, you all know that I figured it out beforehand, so... I suppose there's no surprise you mentioned the first thing about discretion. In case you forgot, both you and the victim were plainly seen entering the crime scene. There was no shortage of witnesses at this event, and the victim was well aware of it. Do you think nobody would have asked any questions if she was the only one to return? Laughable. What the victim intended to do, keeping the instincts hardly could have been the aim. Oh, well. Guess we both lose then.
It seems neither version of the victim's intentions is meant to adequately explain this gun. And without a readily apparent explanation, we can only speculate.
Nothing changed. Miss Chase still has zero evidence for any of her slander. Are you serious? How is that not a huge issue with your case? Because there are a myriad of explanations for why she might not have used it. Maybe she forgot where she placed it, or for some reason found a knife sufficient. Maybe she didn't know how to use a gun. Maybe she was just watching Kill Bill and, you know, she fancied slicing up a bitch. I actually just watched Kill Bill Volume 1 before I started recording this video. Very good film. Yeah. Watch it. Are these good, likely explanations? I won't deny that they are not. But in absence of any superior idea, we'll have to settle for them.
It seems this is as far as this objection can go. Please resume the cross-examination.
Are you kidding me? I thought I was onto something. Fine, have it your way. Don't think I'm done tearing your case apart, though. Press this again. Neither of them are backed up by hard facts, I think. But since we're here, I want to make a save state and try the victim knew. We might as well just see what the dialogue is for these options, how we The victim knew about me. That was just backed up by the newspaper found in her desk. No place you had no business being in. But can you prove that she actually bothered looking up your name? Odds are she was only interested in the article because it was about Van League. Fair, but it proves she had the chance to look into me.
You are conflating proof of opportunity to look you up and proof that she actually did so. The plaintiff is correct in calling it speculation.
Big relief. The court sees us for the baseless slander it is. Ugh, is there nothing she can't talk her way out of? See what the other one is. The fact that the victim cut deals with criminals can be easily looked up. Tell me, what are the chances that someone rolls a 1 10 times in a row? And that's my point. It's statistically unlikely the victim just happened to house that many criminals. There'll always be someone who's unlucky. People have been hit by lightning twice, you know. Pretty sure one guy got hit by lightning 7 times. It is 7 if I remember correctly. And survived. And it's either the 7th or the 8th one that killed him. He was a park ranger in an area that obviously had lots of lightning. If you want some advice from me, who's never actually had to be this close to lightning, lightning will always look for the easiest way to get into the air. So it will be attracted to whatever thing is highest up. So if you're standing on a hill, it's probably not the best place to stand. You want to get low down. Lightning's basically a static charge, and this is actually an interesting fact as well. How lightning gets made. It's ice particles. You know, when a cloud contains water molecules. When it gets cold enough, some of them become sort of ice particles. They rub against each other, creates friction. That builds up. You get a static charge. It gets released, and that's just how charges work. They'll look for the easiest way to get into the air. So, you know, it has to go through your whole body to get to the earth if you're standing upright. And on a hill is not the best place to be. Science facts.
The plaintiff is correct. We must be careful not to put too much weight on statistical probability. and also stand on hills. It is unlikely for the average person to wind up in a murder case, yet here you are.
Are you really the one saying that, Judge, when you know people who get involved in a murder case every other month?
Do you want to pass us off as solid proof, Miss Chase?
Ugh, no dice it seems. We know those are dead ends. I knew they were in. Seems like you realise you got no chance of winning. Good. So let's get back to talking about this clear case of self-defense. I took nothing else though. We can speculate about the key. Or we can't. There's a contradiction in the statement.
What gave you that idea, defendant?
My sources are confidential. I'm afraid they're painfully evident. Such an abominable argument could only be conceived by a mind of your level.
Well, I won't make such presumptions, but no matter where this misinformation came from, you presented it to this court.
Back to the drawing board it is. Oh, did we look at this last statement? That's far from the end. That went well beyond simply defending herself. She's the one that went after me. You're the one that commits the crime first? Tire point. Well, she still could have chosen a less confrontational approach. Castle doctrine, the law is on my side. No matter what you say, my mother was well within her rights to confront you. No easy way to argue this one, as expected. I might have to make sure my theory doesn't get dismissed first. She's trying to keep this as vague as possible, which makes my course of action obvious. I just have to force her to get more specific. If I press her with some pointed questions, she'll be forced to explain, like still, she's too much on her guard. I doubt I'll get her to say something straight up contradiction. Should keep focusing on making him and his actions look as suspicious as possible. That might be, we must know, closed bracket on the last one, I don't know open bracket on this one. That might just be able to tip the scales just enough. So she took the cleaning spray to have an additional self-defense tool, but she didn't take the gun. Could we do that there? I want to bring up the blood in the finger. Oh, I've not been stuck on this for a while. Should we press things again? Took nothing else though. Is there anything else with her fingerprints on it? Nope, nope, nope. Actually, the second one was discharged for forensic purposes. This is almost the last one to touch. Shouldn't... I don't know. Maybe she did the fingerprint test first, but Helen just should be on there. Ah, probably not. Evidence that could be a precaution. I'm not sure. Could this be... because it's letting us do this again. I don't know about you, but this seems important to have in case a murderer shows up.
I will question it, but what makes you think the victim had something to do with this?
I mean, it's such an obvious thing to have. I'm sure she prepared one of these. In other words, another wild guess.
Maybe it's you who should start taking precautions, Miss Chase.
Did our judge threaten me? Probably not. That's probably not a good sign. I'd rethink this before trying again. It does mention the glass case in Guard's autopsy. It's not, I'll just have a blind try that. No. The knife? No. No, I just don't know. I don't think it's anything here. I think it was just the gun. We can't have any other precautions. Explain to me why... no chance. Something pretty weird with the victim's actions here. Could be this one. Mother simply defended herself at the end. Is there anything else? We could point out the autopsy here. This evidence proves you wrong. To become enlightened, you must first acknowledge that your actions have consequences. As such, Aurelia must be punished for these asinine claims.
This person's reasoning makes sense. Let this penalty enlighten you.
Did that really make more sense than the point I tried to make? Removed it by accident. Took nothing else. I can't present that key, which is annoying me. Because I think she did take the key. You just can't prove it. Oh jeez, this one's a brain teaser. simply defended yourself. Product is only issued by a certain loan company to its borrowers. Why would you take that? That's the thing. Like, if you're using it to keep the auction items clean, why would you take it? As you can see, there's quite the issue here if you consider the evidence.
I'm able to see anything of the sort, Miss Chase.
Do not bother. Those at the top of the bell curve would struggle to understand her ostensible logic. Aye, naturally, but it is this type of desperate move.
I see. Please make sure your point makes sense next time.
I think she technically insulted you there as well, Your Honor. Oh, this is annoying. Well, what I think I'll do is... I might pause it, have a think, and if I can't think, I might have to use the guide, because the guide, I think it had clues for some of the options, so hopefully I'll be able to just use one or two of the clues at most, and so I can figure it out. So yeah, I'll be back in a second. We're back, and I didn't look at the solution in the walkthrough, but I did look at the two hints, and the hints were basically you might have to present more than one thing at one of these points and think of the things that had to go wrong to lead to the situation. Poor decisions were made. But I didn't really use that second part, I mainly just used the first part, and I was like, I remember there was some information in this diagram too. Now, if you take a look, we have electromagnetic interference to prevent wireless communication, which seems a bit weird now that I think about it. Seems like a precaution or something. Then we have metal detector using every visitor. Names and noteworthy locations are logged. And honestly, like, the fact that God let her in with the gun, it's pretty suspicious now that I think about it, because if she was, you know, his boss, she would have said don't let anyone in with guns, but he just decides to do it anyway. So he was planning something too, I think. There was something he wasn't letting on. I mean, there was definitely something someone wanted to kill him for, at least. But anyway, we'll now present tower diagram. Every visitor had to provide ID and was checked with the metal detector at the entrance. I would presume that was one of these safety measures. Everyone here was subjected to that, so I won't deny it. Otherwise you would have? There's really not much more to say about it. If you can stop anyone suspicious at the entrance, anyone inside the tower is safe. That's also why there's a mechanism to block... Sorry. That's also why there's a mechanism to block the elevator, in case anyone tries to force their way inside. Conveniently useful to trap us all in here as well. If your mother was so concerned about that, wasn't holding the auction here kind of a terrible idea? No choice, it had to be held sooner or later. The guy died 5 years ago. Supposedly, at least. Besides, remember the two people were killed. Remember that the two people that were killed died alone in their homes. Modus operandi. It wouldn't have matched the killers to commit a crime at such a public event. So, holding the auction with these measures in place seemed reasonable enough. Of course, hindsight is 20/20. Well, I'm not that killer, or any killer at all, to be clear. In any case, would you mind adding the security check to your testimony? My opinion. How would I put it into words? I'm going to strangle you. Is that what it's going to take to make you stop? If we're going to talk about how the victim was totally innocent and not planning to murder me, Then looking at whether these measures she took support that intention is important.
I'm not necessarily a fan of that reasoning, Miss Chase. I will allow this statement to be added, but you better not press it just to ask for another.
No worries, I like where I'm at right now. I'm close to something that doesn't track with our oh so cautious victim, I think. The fact that the gun was let in. Except the security check at the entrance, it was meant to keep the tower safe. What were the specific instructions given to the guard? No idea. I've nothing else to say about that. Don't let anyone with a fucking gun in? Honestly, how would I know what exactly my mother told him to do? Alright, be that way. And the purpose of this check truly was to keep inside the inside of the tower safe? No, it was to only allow criminals inside. What else? Go figure. I literally just explained it. Are you implying this is somehow suspicious as well? And what if I was? And you'd better have a better hand to present than I don't believe it. Well, should I take her up for the challenge? Yeah, something is seriously faulty about this whole security check. At least if the purpose was to keep the tower a safe place, as you claim it was. Impressive words. Now try again with some proof. If you think this is a bluff, you're mistaken. This piece of evidence perfectly demonstrates everything that's wrong with the security check. Honestly, I've had my suspicions about that for quite a while now. The fact that she was allowed to let the gun in from the very start was something surprising. And then kind of just got used to that being, you know, a fact. Oh, she was letting him with the gun. But no, it is very weird. And the fact that no one in this court has brought that up is also kind of weird. But, you know, we don't blame the judge. He's just a bit, you know, slow on the uptake. We don't blame Victoria. She just seems to be trying to prosecute. And everyone else seems to have something to hide. Can anyone tell me what this is? Can anyone tell me what this is?
Why, that's your gun. The one you shot Miss Holton with.
Let's all say it together, kids. This is a pistol. We kill people with this.
Yay! I got it right.
Exactly, Your Honor. Gold star. Well, whether I shot her isn't proven yet, but that's not my point. Tell me, did Mr. Guard's security check spot this gun? Of course it did. There's no chance of smuggling that past the metal detector. I don't think you can deny it just because Mr. Guard is dead now. His logs still document that you brought this gun. Thank you, Miss Holden. But you seem to misunderstand what my problem is. I'm well aware that there's no contradiction here. The gun was found during the check. The real issue is that absolutely nothing was done about it. Huh? The purpose of this check was to ensure safety for the event. Tell me, what would have been the illogical thing to do if you saw one of the guests bring a weapon?
I certainly would prefer they didn't enter the venue with it.
Absolutely. This entire incident could have been avoided if the guard had just not allowed guns inside. You like throwing dirt on the dead, don't you? Is this really a time to call him incompetent? No, I don't think he can be faulted at all. Say what you want about his attitude. Mr. Guard always knew exactly what he'd been instructed to do. If he didn't confiscate any weapons, that means he's never been told to do so. The fact that he kept logs suggests as much. He was clearly only supposed to take notes, but not to obstruct anything. That is what I take issue with here. Oh please, who even cares what the exact details of the check? She's trying to lure her enemies in. If they get turned down just because they have a weapon, they leave the tower, she isn't able to go through with their murder plans. Running theory. If the purpose of the check was safety, then just taking notes makes 0 sense. Anyone could have still brought a weapon and caused havoc regardless. This is not the sort of check that somebody worried about crazy serial killers will be satisfied with.
It does seem a little carefree, I have to admit.
How do I respond to that? So what? What do you think this is proving? It proves that the victim clearly could not have been that worried about getting killed. How about I demonstrate the factuousness of this argument to you? Don't you realize the nature of the security check contradicts your own theory as well? Really now? This should be good. If her only concern was murdering me, there's no reason for it to care how effective that check was. If anything, it would have been better to keep it lax. More potential suspects. You complete Philistines. How far does your ignorance extend? You being allowed to bring your gun would have been exactly what got her killed instead. Why would she let you keep your weapon instead of ensuring you were an easy target? She might just not have thought that I'd actually be that armed. It's not like she could have told Mr. Carr to disarm me specifically. And by the time I showed up, it was too late to change his instructions. Also, all that is assuming a plan existed before I even came to the tower. That's not what I claimed. She only decided to kill me after she recognized me inside. There's no way she could have known I'd be here. Tell me then, would you not consult the guard's logs to make sure you were truly Aurelia Chase? Would you therefore not be aware of the fact that you brought a gun? What rational actor would still choose to attack someone who's carrying a superior weapon? That's exactly what she seems to have attempted, though. Perhaps she was just confident in her ability to ambush me. We can as well postulate the victim thought a public event would be safe enough. The previous victims of the supposed serial killer were all found alone in their home. Mrs. Holden might simply have been confident that the killer would not act overtly. That seems a little... This is ridiculous. We can keep giving each other perpetual checks for eternity in this realm.
So it seems it's reached a stalemate.
That's exactly what it has reached, and we're gonna have to call it for now. Although I'm gonna keep playing because I've got time to record the next video as well. We released the last video early. I don't know why I used the real we there. I released the last video early. This video should be out on Tuesday, and the next video I record will probably be out on the following Tuesday, but I might release that early as well, you know, if I have time to record another one to make up for lost time, because we missed out a couple of weeks. I'm gonna get through this. Not that I haven't been enjoying every second, of course. I mean, I've been kind of dragging out by presenting everything as well. But I do really want to find out what the solution to all this is. So, thanks for watching again, and I'll see you whenever the next video comes out.